Justice now.
Obstruction
Justice
to
now.
justice. Obstruction to justice. Justice now. Well, welcome to another broadcast of Obstruction to Justice, where we discuss relevant topics of the day. We highlight legislative, economic, community, and business reports. I'm Ann Moles, and thanks for joining. Well, today we want to talk about the big event of today as Americans. Today we're going to talk about today's inauguration of the 46th President of the United States of America, Joseph R. Biden Jr. Yes, and we will highlight poet Amanda Gorman, who she read at the inauguration today of President Biden. And we're going to talk about the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm kind of curious about the Pledge of Allegiance, if there are any students out there who are still saying the Pledge of Allegiance at their school. Now, of course, we're in a state right now as far as COVID is concerned, but any students around America, if you still say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you know your children still say the Pledge of Allegiance, chime in. And we're going to be discussing that today. And then we're going to give an update on the ASBNC Fun and Learning Mobile Tutor Project. So we have a lot to talk about. If you want to chime in, please feel free to do that. We're going to be checking on the status of our comments. So feel free to comment on anything that you're hearing and give a shout out to say, hey, that sounds good. Or if you have uh, something against what we're saying, go ahead and put that in there too. We'll discuss it because this is an open forum where we get a chance to talk about whatever issues we like as far as, hey, our communities, I believe our government. It's part of our community and what's going on with us. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, what I want to do, first, I want to check out just 3 minutes of the inaugural address of President Joseph Biden, his speech. So we're just going to check out first. I'm going to take a look at just 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes of his speech. And with that, that's going to kind of give us a little bit of a discussion point here, because we're going to talk about the uh, Pledge of Allegiance. So let's listen to President Biden's speech, the first 3 minutes of it.
Chief Justice Roberts, Vice President Harris, Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, Vice President Pence, my distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day, a day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, Violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation. We come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know the resilience of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken, the oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far.
All right. Yeah. So we we the people, one nation under God, indivisible. You know, that's pretty profound. I expect to hear that during every inauguration. I expect to hear it, but do we hear it during that time? I haven't heard it recently, and I pretty much try to pay attention to the inaugurations. But here, one nation under God, indivisible. And he mentioned we the people. Yeah, so let me know what you think. What do you think about that statement that he made? Because usually what happens during an inauguration address is it sets the tone for what the this president or what the president is looking to do, right? It sets the tone. So it sounds like he's wanting to unify us, right? So let me know what you think. The chat is open, so feel free to um, put in your opinion. All right. Now, here, this next segment here, I want to play the the speech. Now, it's only 6 minutes, so I think that that's still good timing for us. But poet Amanda Gorman, she reads at the inauguration today, and I wanna listen to what she has to say because I think what's important to know is how are the young people? How are you doing out there? Yeah, how are you doing? And what is it? How are you feeling? What do you think about this next administration? What are you expecting? What are you wanting from this next administration? What are you wanting to see? What are you wanting to happen? Yeah. So this young person, I believe she's like 23. She was given the opportunity, and let's just check her out. Let's check her out.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we Step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a speech in the poetry. What a speech in the poetry. Now, she shared, I wrote down some key points. And if you're a young person, go ahead and chime in. But the question is, what do you want America to be? What do you want America to be like? What are you expecting to happen in this great country in the next 20 years? Yeah. That would be a question that I would ask. That's a generation. So we're looking at a generation, 20 years. So she's 23, say today, but 20 years from now she'll be 43. So what's the expectation that you have as a young person? Or not so young, huh? What about the rest of us? What are the expectations that you have for our country moving forward? Now, what Miss Amanda had, she mentioned that she wanted a union with purpose. Her poem mentioned a union with purpose. So to form a more perfect union with purpose, that all men are created equal. Now that's part of what we know the Constitution to say. She also wants America as Americans to set aside differences. Set those aside. She wants to see a repaired nation. Repair. She spoke of repair. Let's fix what's going on. And she wants to leave a better country. She wants to leave a better country. Now, that that just sounds really good to me. Of course. Now, she did mention right now what we discovered and what we know, what we discovered is what just is isn't always justice. Okay, she mentioned that in her poem too. And that's a great discovery as well. And that's pretty bold to say what just is. Were we looking at just the excuses of it just is this way, it just is that way? Or are we looking to leaving a country and working and living in a country that's better? Yeah. Shout out to Miss Amanda Gorman. She did very well. All right. So while we're getting some ideas out here and everything, feel free to go ahead and jot and put your information in the chat, any questions that you may have. Now, let's look at the Pledge of Allegiance because this is something that President Biden mentioned. He mentioned the pledge, part of the Pledge of Allegiance. So I want to go out here and take a look. Now, we found quite a few listings, Pledge of Allegiance, the history of it. But out here at ushistory.org, it looked pretty good chronologically, giving an overview of the President Pledge of Allegiance. And today, as of 1954, the words to the Pledge of Allegiance is I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, that is something that we used to say in school. Now, I remember being in school, and that was something that we had to say on a daily basis at school. We had to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States American flag. And, it wasn't something that I didn't like to do. I thought of it being important. It was important to me. It sounded good. One nation under God. I am a believer, so it's like, hey, under God, why not? With liberty and justice for all. And I always kind of thought about that because there seems to have been a struggle, even in the days when I was saying it, to understand what this liberty, who this liberty was for, and the justice, when would it be justice for all? So even then I had questions about what we were saying, but I still believed in it. And it brought it to my forefront. Now they've taken it to where I don't know if everyone is saying it. And if your young person is saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, give a shout out and let us know. We also want to give big props to the Fox 9 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Fox 9, the news there, Minneapolis, St. Paul. They're the ones that we featured here, and they're doing a great job, did a great job on giving that uh, information, that overview of the President Biden speech, inauguration speech, and as well as poet Amanda Gorman's speech. We went out there to their YouTube channel, and it was very handy and just nice, well put together. But back to the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, it's something that I always, I didn't mind saying it. Like I said, I didn't know when liberty was going to happen, and I didn't know when justice was going to happen for all, but it sounded good, and it's something that I wanted even back then. Now, I think, I'm not sure, but I think sometimes we miss it. We miss it. We get involved in our lives, and we don't get a chance to stay focused on what's important, the liberty, the justice for all. And what happens is we fall through it falls through the cracks. We get busy with our lives, and we just kind of wonder, well, okay, someone else is going to fix it. And then we see that there's still issues, and then we, just say, hey, well, who's going to fix it? And we expect the different political people that we vote in, we expect them to fix it. But, I'm hearing in the inauguration speech and even from the poem by Miss Amanda here is that there's a responsibility that we have. There's a responsibility that we have as individuals, as Americans, to do better and do our parts. Yeah. So I think that right there is just a reminder, number one, that there's still a level of expectation there and that it should be part of the forefront of what we look forward to in our daily lives. Yeah. So I was real pleased with that. What just isn't always justice. And right there, that young person said, look, it just is that way, huh? And that's a lot of times the excuses that we give is it's just that way. Well, we do want liberty and justice for all. Now, back to what the Pledge of Allegiance says. It says that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Now, I don't know how many know what a republic is. Now, we are a democratic, but we're a republic. We are a republic country, and that was something that I don't know if we're aware of. Well, what is a republic? What is a republic? A republic is a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. So, of course, a monarch is, a king or queen. We have an elected president that leads our country. And that's part of what we do. We're a country. And the United States of America, when during its inception, the the ones that wrote the laws for it decided, hey, this is the way it was going to be. America was founded on the we the people. And that was something else that was mentioned during the inauguration address. We the people. So we have a responsibility. That's kind of where I'm going with this today, is that we have a responsibility as Americans to do our part. Yeah, to do our part, to be aware of the details of politics and government so that we can use our voice in a way, our votes in a way that will reflect the republic that we say that we are in. And to the republic, we stand for the republic, which is the power that's held by the people and the elected representatives. So we should participate. We should participate, not not just not vote or expect others to vote when it's time to vote, but vote and also be aware and participate in staying aware. Young people like to call it being woke. Are you woke? Yeah, to be woke, to be aware, and to participate. We look at this young person, Miss Amanda, that was given the opportunity to say her poem. Well, there's many voices out there in our communities that have something to say, and I would suggest you say it. And of course, there are a lot of platforms that are separating, or they're cutting people off where they can't say what they feel they want to say. And then there's some alternative platforms. But the truth is, if you get to that point, that level of saying something where you have to be cut, or they're cutting you, they've decided to cut you, well, then maybe you're really saying something. But say something. Say something. Participate in this great democratic republic that we have as a country and nation, the United States of America. And then there won't be any disappointments. You can't say that, oh, shame on whoever, because you participated. And if the majority participates, then what happens is there won't be any question as far as who won, who won a vote, who was rightfully elected. There won't be any questions in that, because there was, for real, the majority participated in the vote, or in the process of educating themselves. And that's another thing. As an American, I don't think that the media and even the representatives that we vote in, that I don't think they really consider us to be as intelligent as we are. If we're intelligent enough to manage and maintain households, and work and run businesses, and supervise and manage businesses, then of course we're definitely intelligent enough to understand the concepts of what's going on in government. I think what happens a lot of times is that the game changes. So what they'll do, they'll put a lot of fat or into the different bills and initiatives that are to be voted on, and then we get sidetracked. Well, I think that that also becomes our responsibility to make sure that you read all of what's being sent out by your representatives. Read it. They send out information about what's being voted on, and you can actually go to your state government's page and see what your local representative is voting on or working on. You can see what committee they're a part of. And I think that's just as important as staying up on the latest stats of a sports game. Yep. How about those Chiefs? We're out there and we're in the running for headed to the Super Bowl, but and that's important, but it's just as important to know the stats of what your local government is doing so that there are no surprises. We can't balk and squawk. That's what I'm calling it today, and complain because we can't complain if we participate. If we know we've taken our time and done our best to educate ourselves and stay up on what's the latest in the news. Listen to some alternative news. It doesn't always have to be the local news that may not give you all of the information that you're looking for. There's some alternative news out there, and there's a lot of junk out there too. There really is. So that still, we're intelligent enough to pick and choose what sounds right and what is right. And we'll go out there. I think that we as Americans can make that decision to do our best to make that decision about what is good and what is right in the news. So, with that, go out and check out the different media as far as being able to go out and listen to the inauguration speech by the 46th President of the United States. Find one, listen to the poem, listen to the speech by Vice President Harris. Find that information and listen to what they're telling you what the agenda is, what they're wanting to happen. So you can be prepared and say, hey, that sounds good to me. I want to be on board. I want to participate in that too. So, yeah, we talked about the Pledge of Allegiance. We talked about the republic for which it stands. Now, on a local level here, the local business, ASB&C Training and Consulting, is the local business that I'm affiliated with here in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area. And we are working with the other nonprofits, local nonprofits in the community to help and participate with young people and giving them support now that they're not in the classroom, giving them support where they are, whether they're working in a nonprofit facility where they can actually go to school from and log in from a safe facility that monitors their progress and monitors their day because the parents have to go out and of course work and maintain the homestead, or whether they're monitored in at home. So there's a parent that stays home and they of course would need different supplies to do their daily routine with the students there. But the ASB&C Fun in Learning Mobile Tutor Project, and I want to share that site with you so that you're aware and you can definitely go out there and check out the information about the project. So, this project provides sponsorships and scholarships to nonprofit organizations that provide tutor learning support for kids grades K through 12. So, tutor learning support, whether it is supplies uh, for the student, we're looking at now. Usually, the school districts are providing tablets or different devices that is necessary for the child to log in. But there's still other things. There are markers, there are chairs, there's tables, uh, other things that help to make the education experience more comfortable in an environment that's outside of a classroom, the traditional classroom or schoolroom. So those types of supplies are provided and sponsored, and we provide scholarships as well for tutors. So this gives an opportunity for young people that don't have the basic foundation or fundamentals in their learning taken care of. Now, what we're seeing, it's a project. So what we're seeing is that the project, we're noticing that there are students that don't have the basic understanding of even their alphabet. And these are students that are in even the second grade or the third grade. They don't know how to spell small words. They don't know how to recognize the letters in an alphabet or write to where it's legible, and they're failing. So what's been a surprise is that this is happening. Well, no surprise, really, because we've heard the stories. Well, this project is, we're actually able to provide that extra tutor support in ways to where even if it's just educating the parent or showing the parent how to properly tutor their child to bring them up to a level, providing materials so that they wouldn't have to figure out, well, what do I do? How do I tutor my child to bring them up to the level of where they can get get to a level where they're successful in the classroom, and having to go back. Now usually you see the kindergartner, they're learning their colors and letters and their spelling and things of that nature in kindergarten, and definitely by the first grade. But we're seeing some students that don't even know how to properly write their names. So this is a really big challenge, and with this scholarship fund, we're out here and we're just asking for a $5 donation in that scholarship fund. And now this is not something that you can write off if you give it directly to the ASBNC site. Well, you're, as a corporate person or a business owner or a concerned parent, concerned person that would like to see children do better, young people do better, that $5, you're going to spend that at a coffee shop somewhere. You're going to spend that more than that at a McDonald's. So this would just be something that you would consider it as a cost. You're just going to give. What's $5? So we are seeing that we're able to provide the support either in the home or other nonprofits that are providing that type of support. We're able to do that, and it's coming along nicely. But we just definitely want to make you aware so that you can participate as well. Yeah, I think that what we're looking to do, if we're looking to make it better, a better country, then it starts with making better citizens, right? Not frustrated citizens, and because they don't know how to read, or they're feeling that they've been left behind, which they have, because they're still at a disadvantage in their learning. And so we're looking to say, hey, we're going to do our part, and believe me, this is something that our pleasure to do. So if you want to participate in that, go out there to asbnc.com and then click on the link there at the scholarship fund link, and it'll give you more information. And if you are a nonprofit organization and you have a facility, and you'd like to get support, that the support that we offer, then you can definitely contact us and we'll funnel that type of support to you as well and get you going. Yeah. certainly. Well, what a great day. This is going to be kind of a short broadcast here. I'm okay with that because really, if you got something to say, go ahead and say it and get it out of the way because there's still work to be done. Lots of things to do. And yeah, things are going well. And I was just definitely happy to see that there was, no issues going on during the inauguration. And we're going to look for that to moving forward because to be aware that this and being a republic, well, the power is held by the people and their elected representatives. So it's our responsibility to use our voice, our votes, and participate and educate ourselves to provide that voice to the communities and to our country. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Ann Moles, and I appreciate you joining today. And if you want to give a shout out, do that. And of course, we're available. I'm out there on Facebook, and we're available on YouTube. We're out there on Twitch, so many other platforms. Definitely, if you're wanting to participate and you have something to say, you have a small business or a business that, or a career or something that you're wanting to share or talk about, contact me and I will get you on the broadcast and we will let our communities know that you're working to do great things as a great American. Okay. I'm a great American. I consider myself a great person in that, hey, I'm going to do my best. So, yeah, just let me know and we will get you on. But it has been fun and we definitely are looking forward to participating in the process of this next 4 years that's coming up. Whatever needs voting for, vote. Stay up with it, read about it, educate yourself, and be that voice. All right. Well, thanks for joining, and we will see you next time. Justice now.